So could we build Apple iPhones in the USA? That's the subject of today's video, and this topic comes up because the White House is posting an interview with Apple CEO Tim Cook. So let's have a watch together.
I mean, there's a perception. You do so much business overseas, it does make sense to build a lot of stuff where it is economic. But are you telling me it is economic for you and for me, for my trust as a shareholder, to think that it is the right thing to find enough workers in America to do the kind of thing you want to do?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely in the best interest of the shareholder. I think it's also in the best interest of the employees in America. And we're thrilled to do it. And we're getting significant support from the administration to pull that off. You know, the president has said that he wants more in the United States.
Right.
And we want more in the United States.
But you did this this idea, a brilliant idea in Detroit, where you opened up just in August. Now, that's something that you should tell people about, because I think you're going to have to replicate that in many cities in order to be able to find the Americans you need to do the kind of work you're talking about.
Yeah, we opened a manufacturing academy just last month in August. And what we hope to do is touch many small and medium businesses that can bring more manufacturing into the United States and help train them.
Okay. And that's what Tim Cook just said. They're talking about, okay, we're going to work with small businesses and such who can bring the jobs theoretically back, right? This is what the Post says. I just want to read it. This is from the White House. Apple CEO Tim Cook on making the iPhone in USA. Quote, we're getting significant support from the administration to pull that off. The president has said that he wants more in the United States, and we want more in the United States. But that last sentence that Tim Cook said is the most revealing one. Just listen again.
And what we hope to do is touch many small and medium businesses that can bring more manufacturing into the United States and help train them.
And so what it seems like it's indicating to me is that I don't think Apple can actually bring these jobs back. Apple, as I already know, and we've been talking before, actually wants to build more iPhones in India, move out of China, because right now they build a lot in China, but they've been looking to expand in India. That pissed off Trump. And so to sort of get favor of Trump, you have to essentially do the smoke and mirrors game, and that's what Trump does, and convince everyone and all Trump's followers that, oh yes, the jobs are coming back, etc. And you have to dance essentially while Trump's in office for 3 years. Now I want to point this out because I had to look this one up. This is what Tim Cook is referring to. It's the Advanced U.S. Manufacturing. The Apple Manufacturing Academy is based in Detroit and open to small and medium-sized businesses nationwide. So the way the Trumpers are trying to, like literally Trump and their social media is trying to, portray it is that Apple's bringing back a bunch of factory jobs to build the iPhones. But just from Tim Cook's old mouth, it doesn't sound like that. From their own website, it doesn't seem like that. And I'll just show you. I'll show you what it is. It says the Academy will offer free in-person and online courses. Okay. Our skills development curriculum teaches workers vital competencies like project management and manufacturing process optimization. The courses will drive productivity, efficiency, and quality in company supply chains. And again, when you read the description of this stuff, does that sound like your factory jobs are coming back? I see words like project management, which I think definitely there's going to be jobs in USA and that kind of stuff. I agree. Process optimization, that's manufacturing process optimization. I'm thinking we're talking about supply chain stuff or AI stuff, automation, which I'll show you in a moment here, right? Because we're trying to optimize. It's more like manager roles, right? Manufacturing process optimization. The courses will help drive productivity, efficiency, and quality in company supply chains, again, for small and medium businesses. This is the other part. Consultations available with experts to deep dive specific challenges. Apple engineers and experts from Michigan State University will consult with small and medium businesses on how they can implement AI and smart manufacturing techniques, right? This is all about that AI grift thing. And then I Googled it because I was kind of curious. Okay, did I miss something on the website? Is it something that is something else? And literally you can look this up for yourself. I'm just showing you what I looked at. It just says they're training focus, artificial intelligence, machine learning, automation, robotics, data-driven tools, digital technologies, project management, manufacturing process optimization. This isn't the kind of stuff that is necessarily, geared to your factory jobs. And so when Tim Cook is literally saying in the interview, well, we'll work with small, medium businesses maybe they can bring the jobs back. But this is where this is smoke and mirrors. I'm not trying to be mean about this stuff. I just want to point out like how Trump and the White House misdirect and mislead people, right? Even in their own posts, they try to pretend like we're talking about building iPhones in USA. And then Tim Cook's own words doesn't seem to indicate that. And then they says, oh, well, we got this great academy. And CNBC says, oh, yeah, that great academy in Detroit. You need to put more of these around the country. But like originally what they did for these things, it was more software developer kind of stuff, right? And I'm sure Apple's going to try to sell you something, which it's a business, right? It's a business. I don't fault Apple for running a business. But I think what frustrates me about this whole thing is that just the gaslighting and misinformation that the Trumpers purposely put out there. So this was something also that Trump was talking about Tim Cook before. Trump says, I said to him, my friend, I treated you very good. You're coming here with 500 billion, but now I hear you're building all over India. I don't want you building in India, right? And for Americans, which I completely understand, and we talk about the Hyundai plant on the channel where, people who are on the more MAGA, they're angry. They're like, why are these Koreans taking my job? And in their opinion, that's what they think. And think about it in this way, guys. Korea was actually building a plant so you could actually have a job at the plant, but then you get angry for Koreans building the plant. That's why the whole thing is like ridiculous. And they're not taking your job. They're actually creating jobs. Again, they were building the plant. They had technical positions to finish the plant so you could have a job working in the battery plant. And so that's why it's so frustrating, because even when we're talking about the reality of the situation, MAGA people don't want the reality. It's extremely frustrating. And I'm trying to tell you the reality of the Trumpers are saying. Literally, the Trump people are trying to mislead you, thinking that the iPhone manufacturer is going to come back to the USA. I just don't see it from Tim Cook's own words and such. Here's some more. And this is about their manufacturing academy things, because the White House is trying to generate all this hype on this stuff. I'm just kind of curious myself. It says here, Apple runs a similar program focusing on software development instead of manufacturing. Okay. Apple has 18 developer academies around the world, according to its website, notably in countries where the iPhone maker wants to forge a working relationship with governments such as Brazil, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, and South Korea, right? So, it's not bad or anything. They just want to train workers to, expand Apple and get more, business, etc. But I just want to be honest about what it is. I'm not going to lie about it. That's I'm showing it to you. The only developer academy in the U.S. is also based in Detroit in partnership with Michigan State University. And it says it has 200 students annually. But it's just not what you think it's going to be. And that's because the way they're trying to portray it, it's the White House is overplaying what it really is. This also is, something that was recent because the talk was how much would it cost to build an iPhone in USA. One person on Wall Street said $3,500, or build's not the right word. How much would it cost the consumer? How much would your phone be if you built in USA? So one estimate would be $3,500. I've heard other estimates, a couple thousand. I'll just say this. There's no way that the iPhone would stay at the same cost it is today if you built it in USA. And I think a lot of people know that already. And I want to make it clear. It's not just the labor costs. It's the whole supply chain. For decades, the supply chains, moved overseas, just various materials. You have the trained workforce, et cetera. And then even Jim Cramer on CNBC was asking Tim Cook, could you even find the Americans to work in said thing, right? Is it even worth your time? And then you run into a couple other problems, like, do Americans even want to make iPhones? Maybe some people do, maybe some people don't, but is there enough of said thing? Now, let me show you this. And this is something that if you haven't traveled overseas, you haven't seen it for yourself. Jobs, everybody wants jobs. Everywhere in the world, people want a job. That's a pretty common thing, right? Of course they do. And this is actually an interesting picture, it says, people flooded Foxconn Technology with resumes back in 2010 job fair in the Henan province. And actually, one of the Foxconn factories, one of the more, you could say famous or infamous ones because it's not great working conditions there. I was in Shenzhen. I used to actually live and work in Shenzhen. And I write about this situation in my book. You can find that chapter when I talk about China. But it was interesting. There was a part of this article was interesting was Barack Obama talking to Steve Jobs. This is way back when, but it is interesting because they met at a dinner, and I'll read it. It's interesting to read this. When Barack Obama joined Silicon Valley's top luminaries for dinner in California last February, so this is way back when, each guest was asked to come with a question for the president. You got one question to talk to Barack. This is kind of funny that Barack had a different idea. But as Steve Jobs of Apple spoke, President Obama interrupted with an inquiry of his own. What would it take to make iPhones in the United States? Right? So, and back then, if you guys remember this stuff, I mean, Steve Jobs was basically a rock star. Everyone knows who he was. And so even Obama's like, hey, it's a reasonable question. Okay. Could we, bring jobs back? Could we make iPhones in USA? What happened? Not long ago, Apple boasted that its products were made in America. Okay. This is, again, an old article for about 15 years ago. Why can't that work come home? Mr. Obama asked, right? Mr. Jobs' reply was unambiguous. Quote, those jobs aren't coming back, he said, according to another dinner guest. So we've had this discussion for a long time, right? Even Obama was asking about it. But I don't know. And you guys remember, I don't know if was Obama out on the campaign trail promising you that was going to bring the iPhone jobs back. I mean, even say Obama or Trump or anyone can't just force Apple to bring back jobs that it's just not practical for any business to do. Be it, is the labor force capable? Is the supply chain ready? And if Trump's going to be leaving in 3 years, why would you do all this investment when it's not practical for your business anyway? So I'm not against people having jobs. I want to make that very clear. I actually want people to have jobs. I want a better life for everyone, but I want people to be honest about what's going on in the economy. That's why I'm showing you guys this stuff. And if you look at the financial news, this is what's coming out, yesterday. It says Merrill Lynch launches new lending unit for wealthy clients. Why am I bringing this up? Because they can see what's going on with the Trump policy. The Trump policy is smoke and mirrors. It's promoting AI. It's promoting crypto, right? And promoting, tax cuts for the billionaire. And so already all the Wall Street banks are like, oh, wow, look, all this money coming in. We're doing fantastic, right? That's who's benefiting from Trump's policies. And then Trump just basically lies to people all the time about, oh, yeah, I'm going to definitely bring back all your jobs. And he'll just keep that lie going until 3 years and hope people forget about it. It's insane. And sometimes people ask, okay, so Chris, what do you propose, et cetera? Well, let me just show you this. You can find this video on my vlog channel. I went to a convention thing recently, and it was about essentially revitalizing infrastructure. You can just check it out, all the different ways that you can do that. One of the things that you can do, and Trump's against it. I just want to make it clear. Trump's against this stuff. Trump he doesn't want solar power. He doesn't want wind power, nothing green. He's against all that stuff. He wants to go back to more oil and more drilling because that's who his donors are. And the reason why I mention that stuff is you could actually create massive industry by investing in education, training of workers, and funding alternate energy, right? Green energy. Sustainable cities. It's not just the energy stuff. It's also just the sustainable cities, encouraging houses and buildings to be built for energy efficiency. This benefits people incredibly, right? Because if you're concerned about costs of at the pump, costs of energy, et cetera, why do we always talk about, hey, we need to pump more oil, right? We need to drill more oil. Why don't we talk about, hey, how about we become more efficient with energy? It's a different way of thinking about tackling the problem. And then if you want to talk about the supply side, what if we develop more clean technology for energy, right? These kind of things it's different dialogue than what you'll hear in the USA. But I just want to say that not everyone necessarily is on the Trump bandwagon saying, oh yeah, we're definitely going to build iPhones in the USA. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then when you look at their actual policies, it's all promoting AI and stuff. If you look at recently, this was at this is just yesterday, Melania and he was hanging out saying, hey guys, we need more AI in schools and AI this, AI that. And all the tech people are, oh yeah, let's all get that AI. And basically what it is, they just want everyone to subscribe to their AI service or whatever. And then Trump has a dinner with all the tech people and it's all the same. They're just all trying to get you to subscribe to their services. But it's not really about making jobs for people, because the whole thing with AI, it's all about automation and basically replacing workers. These White House people are not being honest about what's going on. They're portraying in ways that is completely dishonest. And so I'm just showing you what it is, and look at it as a whole picture, because they're going to distract you. Now the new distraction is, hey, let's talk about Charlie Kirk. Let's have a big funeral for Charlie Kirk. That's what they're going to do. It's tons of Charlie Kirk stuff and AI stuff. That's their whole policies right now. And that whole debacle with Hyundai, which we talked before many times on the channel, really illustrates that Trump people are not interested about actually making real jobs for Americans. They're not. They're about dog whistles and say, hey, look at this racist thing. Let's go for that. And that's not actually going to help you. Racism doesn't help you. I'm being honest with you guys. You know what helps you is honesty, innovation, encouraging people with education, support people in their healthcare, these kind of things. So that's my talk for today. I want to hear yours and what's your thoughts? Could we actually build an iPhone in USA? Is that the direction we should be going? And if it is, how much do you think an iPhone would cost? That's all I got, and I'll catch you all in the next video.